Kick off our first match of our NHSCA Freshman Finals. Two Pennsylvania wrestlers, Mason Kessiker out of Perry High School in Pennsylvania, and Lee Dreschman from Cannon McMillan in Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania. Facing off in our first match here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Both wrestlers holding good position, feeling each other out. It is the national finals. I expect both guys to let it fly here. In on a shot is Dreschman. Kessiker with the easy defense, looking to score from front headlock position, bouncing. Attacking wrist, driving in. Looks for the ankle, but nothing there. And we'll get a stalemate here, back on our feet. Dreschman, who was in on that shot, finished second in the Pennsylvania State Tournament this year. Had an overall record of 51-5. His opponent, 50-6 in his freshman campaign in Pennsylvania. Midway through the first period here. Another shot for Dreschman. Unable to finish, though. Doing a good job of trying to fight off of his knees. Drive up. Give pressure into the chest of Kessiker. Getting to his feet, trying to circle out of this to his left, but nothing there again. We'll get another stalemate. 30 seconds remaining in the first. Both wrestlers not shy of keeping it close, but winning a tight match. Kessiker had a 4-1 victory over Jackson Morales in the semifinals. Dreschman's coming off of an 8-5 victory over Jordan Bates in the semifinals. Level changes, fakes. And both wrestlers will just take this to the second period. See what happens on the flip. Red choice. And Kessiker red is going down. Quick start off the whistle, tripod stand up, easy escape for Kessiker, and we're back on our feet. Both wrestlers doing a good job here of staying in the center of the mat. Circling, trying to create action. Good fake. There's an attack. Nothing there. Kessiker looking to score from front head. Going back to that wrist. With an underhook on the right, an attacking wrist on the left. Same position we were in the first period. And again, Kessiker's unable to score. We'll get ourselves another stalemate. Now Dreschman keeps getting to these leg attacks, but he's unable to transition off of his knees and drive through and finish. Slide by. Nothing there. Good display of level changing in wrestling between these two wrestlers. Keeping active feet, active hands. Trying to set up their shot. No surprise that Dreschman's got active hands. He names his role model as Bruce Lee. And we will move to the third period. Dreschman's choice, he'll go down. He is down 1-0. A chance to get out here, tie things up. Potentially 2 minutes away from crowning our first freshman national champion of the morning here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Granby roll right out of it and a quick escape. So now we get right back to where we were with Dreschman in on that lefty single leg. Not quite a sweep, just more of a kind of a dive snatch single. And he's just getting down blocked by Kessiker. Unable to drive through. This time it went out of bounds, so we'll start back in the center. Same shot again. Stuck on his knees again. Ken Kessiker, sorry, he chases the corner. Needs to shelf it here. Good shin whizzer. Rolling through, bit of a scramble situation. And now we find ourselves with Dreschman back in on a leg. This time between the legs, looking to get height. Turning towards the ankle. Kessiker doing a good job holding on to the body. Not letting Dreschman get past his ankles, but here now Dreschman's able to step over. He's going to look for sort of a neutral danger position, try to stick him here. He pops his head out, hips through, and that's going to be 3. Takedown. With 30 seconds left, Dreschman slips the leg in, has him broken flat. Driving forward on his toes, staying active here. .20 seconds remaining with the leg slipping back in. All about locked up here. Congratulations to Lee Dreschman, our first freshman national champion of the day. The freshman from Canon McMillan High School and Quest Wrestling Club, your champion, Lee Dreschman. And here we go. Mills right to the head right away. Shot attempt by Worth, but Mills trying to chase the corner. Nothing there, chasing the other way, and that'll be a quick takedown for Mills. Right back to his feet is Worth. And that'll be 1. Back neutral, 3-1. Mills right to that sort of slide-by attempt. Into a good single leg transition. Chasing the head, getting the 3-point takedown. 6-1 here early at 113 pounds. Uriah Mills, as a freshman, was a Georgia state champion, in addition to being a Super 32 champion in 2024 Fargo champion. Trying to add NHSCA freshman national champion to that star list of accolades. Logan Worth trying to stop him here, but he has no answer for that slide by as Mills scores his 3rd takedown off of it to go up 9-2. Trying to slip in a bar, has the bar and a cross wrist, driving forward, looking for backs here, and he's going to get some swipes. 4 count hold. And with a minute into the first period, going back to it, going to be a fresh set. Ref awarded the 4, and this is going to be it. And just like that, Uriah Mills, in a minute and 20 seconds, is your freshman national champion with a 17-2 tech fall in the NHSCA finals. Manello, no stranger to a national finals atmosphere, a Super 32 middle school champ, and USA Wrestling Triple Crown winner. He'll look to add NHSCA Freshman National Finals champion to that list. And there's Manello off to a lefty sweep single. Has the ankle shelved on the edge, looking to pull it in bounds, covering both ankles. Excellent work by Sandy with the split. Switching to a shin whizzer, attacking the far ankle, but he's going to give up 3. Takedown, Vincenzo Manello. Manello slips out front. So now Sandy in on a sweep single. On his right side, bringing it up to mid-level. Looking to double off on the edge. Good belly whizzer by Manello. They stay in bounds in the NHSCA. We got college out of bounds for our freshman high school wrestlers. It's a cylinder, folks, and they're out of the cylinder. So we will bring it back to the center with Manello still on top. Manello finished his freshman campaign 44-4 in the state of New York, wrestling for Westlake High School. 44-4 and finished 4th in the state tournament. Dakota Sandy in bad shape here, giving up a full count with the cross wrist roll through tilt. Excuse me, just 3 swipes. 3 swipes. So that'll be a 6-0 lead for Vincenzo Manello. And after 1 period, we go to the flip. Manello will defer, and Sandy going down. Wasn't able to find a way out in the first period and gave up that set of backs. We'll need to make an adjustment here. See if he goes explosive off the whistle. A little bit knee slide into that quad pod position. Wrestling through the quad pod. Excellent top pressure by Manello. Using his arms with that cross wrist and his hips. Driving into the hamstring of Sandy. He's able to bring him back down from that quad pod position and keep him flat. We'll just go out of bounds here. College out of bounds, but no college riding time. These freshmen will have to wait a few years before they get the pleasure of that. To his feet here, Sandy looking to get 1, switching to a Peterson. Nothing there. Keeps circling left. And Manello just being unrelenting in covering the hips and providing pressure. No space. Just a 1 count there, no backs. Back to that Peterson position for Dakota Sandy. He's unable to roll through right now. Manello's doing a good job of elongating himself, getting heavy. Might look for some sort of stack here if he can pull it off. Sandy still wrestling in this position. He's stepping over the ankle, trying to scoot back. Creates some height, and he will get the reversal. With 13 seconds remaining in the period, a huge 2 points to give him a little bit of momentum going into the third, which will be Manello's choice. 6-2 Manello lead, his choice in the third period. And he will go down. We will see what Dakota Sandy has on top. Dakota Sandy, 31-10 freshman record in Pennsylvania. Wrestling for Mat Assassins and Coach Van. Tough on top here for Sandy. Looking for the bar, unable to get it. Head lever with a tight waist, but Manello too quick and explosive out of that position. He gets the one, and we're back on our feet. A 7-3 lead for, 7-2 lead for Manello. A good single leg attempt here by Sandy. He starts to shelf it. He starts to attack head. Kind of slips back, and Manello just lands on top, gets the takedown. And he goes right back to that gable ride, western ride, hooked on the ankle, driving forward with his hips. Now switching off to a bow and arrow, trying to lock up a near side cradle. Can't tell, it doesn't have his hands locked. But he's in great position to get him locked. Still driving in. Nothing there. He'll just shelf the leg out, pull it in, cover the hips as he's been doing all match. 40 seconds remaining. And we'll get one here for Dakota Sandy. 30 seconds, down by 7. Got to throw the kitchen sink at him. Pick up the pace. Both shoot at the same time. Again, good down block, re-attack. Low single in, very deep for Sandy. But with 7 seconds remaining, it's just not enough time to finish through this position. Vincenzo Manello, the middle school Super 32 champ and USA Wrestling Triple Crown winner, can now add freshman NHSCA national champion. Congratulations, Vincenzo Manello. Marchetti in the green, Barrios in the red. Barrios trying to chase the corner, nothing there. Back on our feet. Lucas Barrios is the 2026 state champion in Florida. He finished his season this year with a 27-2 record. His opponent, Marchetti, 6th place at Prep Nationals as a freshman. Both wrestlers trying to add NHSCA freshman national champion to their resume. Both wrestlers engaged in the hand fight here. Tap and go, clinch, attacking wrists, fighting for head position. A huge leg attack by Marchetti gives him the quick 3. There's a bit of a sort of a shuck by Barrios gone wrong. Marchetti just landed deep on his body with his top of his legs and his body with his hands locked and just drove through and finished the takedown. And now is immediately going to work on top. On his toes, pressuring in. Sit out position for Barrios. Brings him to his feet now. Big mat return. And we will roll out of bounds. Excellent little bottom scramble there. Barrios shrugs it off. 12 seconds remaining. We'll need a quick escape here from Barrios. He wants to get out of the first scoreless. Ball and chain now. Short time, looking for a quick set. Unable to get it. Good offense all around. Marchetti, though, finishes on top of that period, 3-0. And he will go down to start our second. Leg in for Barrios. Immediately going right leg and left power half. A little high, but it's able to make the adjustment. Quad pod for Marchetti. Not able to slip the leg, but Barrios hasn't really been able to do much with it in either. Now Marchetti's attacking that right shoulder of Barrios, and they'll give us a stalemate. Both of these wrestlers, pretty large 126-pounders. Marchetti, definitely the taller wrestler. I think was giving Barrios a hard time with those legs. And Barrios is going to show the ref, I want to go neutral. Let's take this on our feet. So we go neutral. Marchetti takes a 4-0 lead with 1 minute remaining in the second period. Leg attack from Marchetti. Barrios tries to spin out of it. He's in a crotch lock position on his butt. Trying to pull it through. Marchetti is just keeping that foot elevated next to his face. Able to hip heist through. Now he's going crossface, Turk, and that'll be another takedown. Marchetti is just out scrambling Barrios right now. Attacking bottom shoulder. He might turn this into some backs. Nothing there right now. But back to work on top. 20 seconds remaining in the second period. Marchetti, the PA wrestler, coached by Will Weber and Veen Dabish, is going to take a 7-0 lead to the third period in NHSCA Freshman National Finals. Barrios choosing bottom here in the third. Has been unable to escape on 2 occasions being on bottom underneath Marchetti. And starts the third no different. Barrios tries to create a scramble with that roll, but Marchetti just slips his right leg in. Good movement on bottom. Unable to create hip separation though. Standing switch. Granby roll. Nothing there. Lots of action. Starting to pop out. Goes a step over. No points here. Excellent little roll. Fun scramble position, but this whole time Marchetti has been on top. And he still is in control. Steps over the ankles. Might try to sneak a few back points here. Right back on top, applying pressure, attacking wrists. Marchetti has his opponent flat on the mat, running head lever, and they're gonna call stall warning. Stall warning on red, bottom man. Arm bar. Hard drive. Marchetti starting to get back points with that arm bar. It'll slip out, but not before he gets 3 back points. It'll be a 2-point reversal for Barrios, but he finds himself down 12-2. 10-2. And that'll not be enough out of Barrios. Marchetti wins 10-2. Major decision in the freshman national finals. 132 pounds, freshman national finals. Caden Neeson, Matthew Peterson. Neeson, your 2 seed, earned his way into this finals match with a fall in the 3rd period against Brady Full. Peterson, your 4 seed, capped off his semifinals with a major decision, 13-2 against Noah Lynch. Both wrestlers scoreless here through the first 30 seconds. Underhook dig there by Neeson. Peterson driving in with 2 hands, then snap, level change to his own underhook. Will look to jack that one up, but Neeson has the head position. Leg attack attempt by Peterson. Re-attack by Neeson. He's inside. Peterson jumps over top, rolls through, and we're out of bounds. So Peterson fires off the first real leg attack, but it's Neeson who ends up in on that low single after down blocking and re-attacking. But no points are awarded. We go to the second period, 0-0. Green defers, red's choice, and he'll go down. Peterson looks for almost backs, kind of gets rolled through, and then we shake loose with Neeson ending up on his feet. About 10 seconds, he gets the first point of the match. And we go right back into the hand fight. Over collar for Neeson, tries to slide it by, gets nothing out of it. Still in bounds here, on the edge. Another shot by Peterson. This time he's able to shelf it up, looks to finish. No points yet as we're on the edge. He has to pull him in bounds. Pulls him in, looks for the trip. Nothing there, chasing 2 legs, covers both ankles and the butt, and that's 3. Takedown. Still in bounds here on the edge. But we'll get a restart as we go out of bounds. 1 minute remaining in the second period. So Neeson with the first point with the escape earlier in the period, but Peterson with a sweep single. Gritty finish. Takes over, gets the win, gets the takedown, but this time he'll let him go. And we are back neutral. Now Neeson in on a double leg, looking to drive through. Whizzer from Peterson, but Neeson will pick him up. Locking the body, now attacking the head. Slips out behind, no points yet. Mat return, And they will award him the takedown. 3 red. So there is 3 takedown, but now blood is the issue. So after Neeson scores, he goes up 5-3. And folks, we have a challenge. We have a challenge on mat 6, challenging whether or not it was a takedown. So Green's corner is challenging a takedown. Whether or not a takedown should have been awarded on the edge of the mat there. So Neeson was, and we don't have the replay for you here, but Neeson had the double leg, ended up behind him with his hands, ended up behind him with his hands locked. Goes for the mat return, big pop of the hips. Peterson, while getting returned, shoulder roll. They end up out of bounds. Right on the edge, hands were in bounds. Ref calls 3. We will see what the independent review says. We may be getting the call right now. The call is overturned. No takedown. Call is overturned. No takedown. So the score will go back 3-2 in favor of Peterson, and we are resetting the clock to 41 seconds. Call has been overturned. No takedown. So we are back neutral. Peterson in on a shot now. Unable to finish. Tries to reshot. 10 seconds left in the second period. On the edge. Nothing there. And we will take this one into the third. So after the challenge, an overruled takedown, Peterson takes a 3-2 lead into the third. It's his choice, he'll go down. So with a 3-2 lead, Peterson is on bottom. Optional start from Neeson. He'll go right to his neutral offense as Peterson crawls forward. So 4-2 Peterson on our feet. 2 minutes to create some action. Peterson shoots Neeson out of bounds, and we get a stall warning. So Neeson's now down by 2 and been warned for stalling. Will have to be offensive. Just over 1 minute remaining here at 132 pounds, NHSCA freshman national finals. Caden Neeson from Staples Motley, Minnesota is down by 2. Needs to create some offense, get to a leg attack. The one time he did in the first period, he nearly finished. And he did nearly finish there as well in the challenge. 30 seconds left. Peterson has not been warned for stalling. He's going to try to hold center here, maintain good position. Neeson has to push the pace. Stall warning green, there's 15 seconds. But Peterson's in good shape. One quick check of the clock. Towards the end of the match here. Another stall on green. And after a little shimmy, Matthew Peterson will be your national champion, freshman national champion at 132 pounds. Indeed, at 138 pounds, Cannon Driscoll pinned Tyler Mason in the third period in his semifinal bout. Driscoll gets poked in the eye on ref stoppage here. In the red is Landon Lill, who's giving up his leg right now to Driscoll, trying to sit the corner. Being stingy with his leg attack defense. Switches to a crotch lock. Looking to pull it through, pop his hips. Nothing there, he'll readjust. No points. Driscoll is attempting to shelf the outside leg. No points yet. As we get into a scramble, both wrestlers trying to create height. Switch their hips and face each other. But it's Driscoll driving through his foot. Now in on a single leg on the edge of the mat. Will attempt to pull him in and shelf it. He's got 30 seconds, barring a ref stoppage for stalemate, to finish this takedown. Tries to pull him in. Lill staying out of bounds, defending the leg attack with head position and a whizzer. 5 seconds remaining. And Driscoll will shoot him out of bounds. Three seconds remaining. These wrestlers will just take it to the second period. So Landon Lill, the freshman from Manalapan, New Jersey, finished 7th in New Jersey States this year. Excuse me, 7th at the national preps. He also finished 8th in US Open U15. In addition to being a freshman national finalist, he's also a cross-country runner. He'll look to get the mat return here, as he does, immediately attacking the near side wrist. Switching off to the far elbow. And out of bounds they go. Driscoll, the bottom wrestler, also a multi-sport athlete in his own right, cites himself as quite the golfer. So 0-0 here in the second period at 138 pounds in the freshman national finals. Landon Lill from New Jersey on top. Cannon Driscoll continuing to work on bottom, but unable to find an answer for just the blanket of coverage that Landon Lill is giving him right now. Driscoll lines up on the onside, switches to the offside, going double thigh pry, and then as Driscoll stands up, he's just locking his hands and mat returning. And that's been the sequence so far in this match. And it's resulted in a ride of 1 minute and 10 seconds so far for Landon Lill. Same start here in this period. Hands locked again. This time Driscoll will try to roll through after getting to his feet. Lill's dropped down on the ankle. To his feet again. Same lock on the edge. And we will go out of bounds once again. Driscoll just has no answers for the relentless barrage of mat returns that Lill is providing right now. Switching sides of the hips. Unable to get anything close to a turn per se, but that might change right now as he gets a quick cross wrist. Back to mat return on the right. Attacking cross wrist on the left. Pulls him into a crab ride position. Has 12 seconds to work for a turn. Driscoll back to his feet, but will go out of bounds again. With 8 seconds remaining in this period. Granby roll. We got a locked hands call and a reversal with 1 second left. So a lot just happened right there, and the refs are going to discuss it. A few things going on here. First and foremost, with 8 seconds left, Driscoll goes Granby roll. As he's rolling through, Lill very clearly locks his hands. Yep, and the ref agrees, technical violation, locking hands. Then as he rolls through, he ends up on top. So, okay, so we have another challenge. Call on the mat was locking hands, very clearly locking hands as Driscoll was rolling through. Then Driscoll gets on top after the Granby roll. in sort of a hip-to-hip position. Again, we don't have the replay for you fans. A hip-to-hip position. Has his hips to the mat. Looks to appear to be stepped over an ankle. But the ref holds off on awarding the points until about the time the clock hits 0. So now a challenge has been called on the last 10 seconds. A, against the locking hands call, which probably will stand. And B, whether or not a reversal was earned before time was out. So we go to independent review. The quarter of Landon Lill has challenged. As our second challenge in a row here on mat 6. Exciting stuff. I wish we had a replay for you. But what we will do is go ahead and wait with much anticipation before we move into the third period. Third period will be Landon Lill's choice after Driscoll chose bottom and was nearly rode out for the entire period till this last 10-second flurry. Should Lill lose this challenge, no sweat off his back per se. Despite being down by 3, it will be his choice. And he's fresh off of a 4-2 semifinal victory over Kendall Lewis. Winning tight matches, not going to be new for him. Interestingly, this is taking some time to review this challenge. And our previous challenge was completed rather quickly. Perhaps there's much discussion in the independent review room. We shall see. One benefit of the challenge is everyone else is finished, so this arena is watching the Freshman National Finals.
Go ahead.
Call might be coming in right now. Okay, and as expected, the locking hands call is confirmed. It was very clear and obvious. We could see it from the table. Hands were locked when he was rolling through, but they're saying no reversal. No reversal. Time was out is the call, I believe. Time was out. So no reversal, but locking hands, so 1 point. 1 point for Driscoll with the locking hands. So unable to get an escape or reversal, but he does draw 1 point with a technical violation. So maybe that's just the next best thing. Lill will have to go on bottom with a Granby roll of his own. And also, at least for the time being, unable to escape. Leg in now for Driscoll. I was mentioning Landon Lill's semifinals performance before, but Driscoll finished his semifinals with a pin in the third period. Might be looking to do the same here in the freshman national finals, but before he can, we got a stalemate. And Lil will go back down with the restart. Leg in again for Driscoll. Lil's got it scooped. Trying to pull out the foot and get some hip separation. Using his foot to foot fight, but unable to keep moving this position, get to an advantageous position. And Driscoll's who comes on top with that right leg in. Less than a minute remaining here in the third period. At 138 pounds, your freshman national finals, we have a stalemate. Cannon Driscoll looking to win this match with a 2-minute ride out in the third period. It was Lil's choice, and Lil chose bottom. And if he is unable to get out, Driscoll will be your national champion. Granby roll again. This time he gets his one. And it is all tied up with 30 seconds remaining in the final period. Double leg attempt, nothing there. Re-attack by Driscoll. He's in on the single leg. A shin whizzer by Lil. Looking for the far ankle, far wrist. Both wrestlers trying to keep a foot or a hand in. But they're going to call it out of bounds with 6 seconds remaining in this third period. Should this go to overtime, we will see a 1-minute period. Sudden victory. First point wins. And that is what will happen. So here we go, 1 minute on the clock, sudden victory. We have a 1-to-1 match here at 138 pounds between Landon Lil from Ruthless Wrestling Club in Manalapan, New Jersey, and Cannon Driscoll from St. Ed's in Ohio. Driscoll in the green, Lil in the red. Have a half shot by Lil. And he's going to get blasted out of bounds by Driscoll into the little fence. Shake that one off, come right back to the center. 30 seconds remaining in sudden victory. Shot by Lil. He'll double off, switch to a single now. Head on the inside. He's starting to lose the leg. Driscoll circles out in that same position they were just in on the other edge of the mat. With 3 seconds remaining. 6 minutes wasn't enough. 7 minutes wasn't enough. We will get extra wrestling. TB1, 30 seconds. Granby roll again. Close to a locking hands, but no call. He'll drop down on the leg, and that's going to be one for Driscoll. Now in these tiebreaker periods, we keep wrestling the full 30 seconds. It is not sudden victory. More points can be scored. 10 seconds remaining in TB1. And nothing. So now it will be Lil's choice. A little bit of extracurriculars. And a little bit of blood. So we'll just have to wait a second further. Down by 1. It'll be Lil's choice. So it'll be Lil's choice. Presumably he'll choose bottom. He'll have 30 seconds to get an escape. So Lil is on bottom. 30 seconds, needs to get out here. If he's unable to escape, the match will end in Driscoll's favor. Big return by Driscoll. Leg in immediately after the return. To our feet, we're getting a potentially dangerous call. 19 seconds remaining. Quad pod to his feet. Mat return. That right leg slips back in. Lil trying to get his escape. He's to his feet. He's attacking hands. Driscoll's going to drop it on the leg. He's going to hold on for dear life. And he's going to hold on enough to get the win. In one heck of a match, fought all the way to the end. The man, the fresh man from St. Ed's. Congratulations to Cannon Driscoll and Coach John Heffernan on the freshman NHSCA Freshman National Championship. Caden Woodall in a front headlock. He wrestles out of Marinci High School in Marinci, Arizona, and Black Cat Wrestling Club under Coach Casey Woodall. He finished 4th at the U.S. Open this year and was an Arizona state champion. His opponent from Westlake High School and Sanderson Wrestling Club had a freshman record of 28-6 this season, finishing 1st in his state tournament. That's Joe Whitford. And 1 minute passed in the first period, and we have a 0-0 score. Whitford now in the front headlock with an underhook on the right. Looks to a single leg, had it there, didn't pull the trigger. Tries to go back to it, nothing there as Woodall smartly defends. This is another battle of 1 versus 2 seed in the finals. Caden Woodall, your 1 seed, finished with a 9-2 victory over Will McNeil in the semifinals. Joe Whitford, an overtime win over Caleb Costco. And we're going to get a warning here for hands in the face. No malicious intent, just a couple of eye pokes. Ref doesn't want to see any of that. Short time here, finish up the period, 0-0. It'll be Whitford's choice. He's going to defer, and Woodall will go down. Whitford doing a good job of covering both sides of the hips. Good mat return there. Switch it to the claw ride. Switching sides again to a crossface with that Western ride. But a hip heist from Woodall. Good enough to earn him as 1. Created space, circled out of bounds. Probably could have turned that into a reversal, but he'll settle for 1 and go right back on the attack. Into the front headlock here for Woodall. Goes dresser dump. Whitford says, no way. How about I take your leg? Tries to come out the back door. Creating height. But Woodall is draped on his ankle. So we'll get a stalemate here as both wrestlers at each other's legs. Single leg by Whitford in deep. Circling his feet, trying to finish. Woodall is using the crotch lock as a defense here. He slipped the head to the outside. Now he's trying to pull it through and pop his hips. Hip heist over. Could sneak a takedown here. We get into another one of these scramble situations. Woodall might get stuck in another stalemate, and the ref does call it as such. Both wrestlers doing a good job of being offensive, trying to score takedowns, attacking the legs. And both wrestlers with fantastic defense, funkiness here in the Freshman National Finals at 145 pounds. Zero-zero as we go into the, 1-0 for Woodall as we go into the third period. Whitford chooses bottom, goes quad pod stand up. Now Woodall tries to suck him back, almost gets back there. Now switch to a leg in. Trying to lock up a cradle, hands are so close to touching. Not quite locked. Whitford in bad shape here if he's unable to free that leg. And we will get a restart by going out of bounds. Woodall was just centimeters away from locking up that cradle. Whitford escapes unscathed. To his feet now is Whitford. And he will get his 1, tying up this match at 1 apiece with 1:20 remaining. Single leg attempt by Whitford. He'll get stuck underneath. Woodall looks for that dresser dump again. He's content with just getting a stalemate here Not a ton of action out of that position. And right back on that same single leg goes Whitford. Again, we've split the middle. Needs to pick a side. Steps his feet through. Whitford back into that, Woodall back in that crotch lift position. Crotch lock. That's been his go-to defense for all of Whitford's leg attacks. It's been successful so far as they roll towards the out-of-bounds line. Woodall might have 3 here. The fans are calling for it. Whitford's trying to pass that leg, but they're going to give him the 3 and start giving some swipes as well. 3 swipes. And just like that, with timeout, Caden Woodall with a funky leg half type in a scramble situation to get the takedown, plus 3 back points, earns the right to call himself a NHSCA national champion. And his opponent, Howard Hill, also with 60 wins, 60-6, including a 3rd place finish in the Florida State tournament this year. And a quick 3 points for Lucas Drake. And his ref's telling him to cut him. Excuse me, his coach, so he's going to. See how Howard Hill responds. Re-attack attempt by Hill. Nothing there. Drake looks foot sweep. Can't connect on that one. Goes right back to the hand fight. Another leg attack attempt by Hill. Drake goes back to the foot sweep. Tends to be the sequence they're working on. Some early action here at 152 pounds. So Hill is going to get a stalwart. Hill's going to shoot Drake out of bounds, and Drake will be hit with a stall warning. A cheeky move on the edge by the freshman out of Florida. Might even get another one here too. This time the ref calls action. So Drake has a 3-1 lead, but also a stall call against him after being shot out of bounds. Hill has been the leg attack aggressor so far after giving up the early takedown. Less than 30 seconds remaining in this first period. A good little scrap here at 152 pounds. We will move into the second period. So Lucas Drake, the 4 seed, has your lead. He earned his way into the freshman national finals with a major decision, 16-7 win over Joseph Guastella. And he has a lead now over 3 seed Howard Hill. Hill, who's on top, won his semifinals match over Isaac Young via decision 5-0. After holding Young scoreless, he'll do his best. He can't hold Drake scoreless, but he can hold him down here in this second period. He's going tight waist chop on the offside. Has Drake broken down flat. Now starting to attack wrists. Back to the tight waist chop. As a bar slipped in. And he's going to start running that bar towards the head. Flips a half in on the other side. Drake does a good job of being tough, not letting the aggression of Hill get him turned over. But Drake's going to have to find a way to get off of his belly, off of his knees, and not let that bar slip back in. That's a painful position to be in. Not to mention dangerous with 4 back points and pins on the line. Hill goes back on top and immediately breaks Drake down flat. That offside start. Driving forward on his toes. And we have a stalling call on green, which is the second against Drake. And we will get a point for Howard Hill. Your top wrestler, your wrestler who is behind, is creating enough action, wrestling tough enough on top to earn a stalling. And if Drake's not careful, he will give up another stall. And that'll be another stall call on green. 1 point red. We have a 3-3 match through 2 periods. It'll be Red's choice. He's going to choose, Hill's choice is going to choose bottom. So Hill has got his way into a 3-3 tie with escape and 2 stall points. Drake says, I don't need to ride you. I'll let you go. I'll get to work. Down by 1 is Drake. Immediately goes for a shot. Unable to score, but has 2 minutes to create action. Post on the elbow. Tries to fire off a high crotch. Nothing there. Hill shoots him out of bounds. No points. We got action. Back to the center. Minute 42 remaining. Drake goes hands on him immediately. He's got outside control, trying to work inside. Fakes, snap, try to get to a single leg. We're still in bounds here on the edge. And he'll shoot Drake out of bounds. So they call another stall.
Hey, official, stay! Hey! So I had him both. What's that? But it, okay, now listen. So it's a 2-point stall call. Yep. Okay. Then Drake gets his choice. And Red chairs down. I don't know why I had concern. You know what? For some reason, I had Red down. I gave escape 1. Is that really a case? 2 points. Yes. And now Red has choice. Well, it's not the time. Yeah, we're still wrestling. So Red has choice. Red goes down.
So there was another stall call on the edge when Drake shot Hill out of bounds, and which was 2 points in favor of Hill. And after the 2-point stall call, it becomes choice for the wrestler who was awarded the points for that stall. So Red chooses bottom. Now Drake down by 3. We'll go to work on top, try to work for a turn here rather than cut him, at least at this time. He's switching tight waists. Stall warning on Red now. Comes out front headlock. Looks for a gator roll. Tries to sit through the headlock. No points. Now Hill is in on the leg. .30 seconds remaining. Drake still working for the turn. He's got tight waist and a half. Crossface. And we might get an unnecessary roughness call here. Yep. 1 point red. .20 seconds remaining here in this bout at 152 pounds. Optional start for Drake. Hill goes down flat. One for red. And Howard Hill is your freshman national champion at 152 pounds. The man from Flemings Island, Florida. Congratulations. We'll shake hands and we will go to work. Leg attack here by Thompson. No dice. Thompson is your 7 seed. Earned his way to the national finals with a fall over Elias Mata in the semis. And Mogard, unseeded, also a fall in the 3rd period over Braden Slug. But it's Thompson in on the leg here, trying to shelf it. Drive across to double off, not there, goes back to the inside shelf. Double off again. Gonna bring it up higher. Mogard with some nifty leg in the air defense. He's got that whizzer on the left. Comfortable with his leg shelved right now. Gonna try to be stingy through this position. Whizzer down hard. Thompson tries to go limp arm. Ends up backing on the single leg, and we're gonna get this out of bounds call by the ref with 19 seconds remaining in the 1st period. Arm drag, chasing the hip, doubling off, and that's gonna be a 3 takedown by Jaimin Mogard. Excellent lefty arm drag. Just circled around hard, doubled off, and finished. So he'll take a 3-0 lead into the 2nd period. The freshman from Ames, Iowa. And it will be his choice. He'll defer. Thompson chooses bottom. Mogard On top, lines up on the offside, bump chop. Switching to a tight waist and a claw. Thompson goes sit out, tries to hip heist, create height, get his hips away. Still in bounds and gets his one. We go back neutral. 3-1 in favor of Mogard. Single leg by Thompson. We go seatbelt. Now has his hands locked, driving over the shoulder. Shelves the leg. We're back into this position where Mogard is comfortable with his left leg being shelved while he keeps the whizzer. Limp arm to no avail. Now bringing it up at high level is Thompson. Still trying to finish the single leg. He'll pull him back towards the center. Goes for the trip. No takedown call yet. And he gets stuck underneath. Fantastic defense by Mogard. And it looks like in that situation when Mogard defended the leg attack and got his hips back on top of Thompson's head, drove Thompson's nose right into the mat, and Thompson needs some medical attention in terms of blood. An excellent training staff here. Always ready to rock and roll at the NHSCA Nationals. So two wrestlers here at 160 pounds in the finals that both come off of pins in the semifinals. Both able to get in deep on leg attacks of their own. Thompson with the single leg on multiple occasions. Traditional single leg. And then Mogard off of a lefty arm drag, dropping down on the knees, finishing like a lefty double. I expect more action to come in this match once the blood time is wrapped up. Two explosive wrestlers. Not entirely sure what the holdup is here. They're going to restart blood time. We thought we had everything wrapped up, but they're going back into more blood time. Want to make sure he's extra cleaned up here on mat 6. So Kamon Thompson from Utah is your Utah state champion versus Jamin Mogard, third place in Iowa. Both NHSCA freshman finalists trying to add champ to their resume here in Virginia Beach. And with a full head wrap now for Thompson, he'll come out ready to roll on their feet. 40 seconds remaining in the second period. Single leg attempt by Mogard, unable to hold on to the leg. Looks for an ankle pick. Duck under attempt by Thompson, nothing there. Now in on the single leg is Mogard. On the other side this time, goes for the trip, is able to double off, finish the takedown, and start to get a few swipes, at least 2. And that's right, 2 swipes, 2 backs for Mogard. With a crisp, tight finish on his takedown, able to work up the body and snag a few swipes. And then takes his choice in the third period, chooses bottom. A 7-point lead for Mogard with 2 minutes remaining. Quick switch off the whistle. Finds the leg, looks to double off, finish across, and that'll be a reversal. 2 more as Mogard starts to pile it on here. He'll go ahead and cut Thompson. Knee pull single for Mogard. Not as quick to finish this time around. Better defense by Thompson. And Thompson will clear it off entirely. And now in on a single leg is Thompson. Locks around the body. And we get called for blood. Starting to ooze out from Thompson. And we have some more blood time. 2 minutes remaining on the blood time clock. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And everything's cleaned up, back on our feet. 10-2 for Mogard. 1 minute remaining in this 160-pound bout. Little sequence here. They go out of bounds, no points. .45 seconds remaining. Mogard with the over collar. Hard collar tie by Thompson. Mogard posts on the elbow, gets it on the double, switches sides. Has stepped over the ankle. Will look to attack that bottom shoulder, hip in, get his 3 points. And again, try to work on his transition wrestling. Turn his takedowns into backs. And that will be a full count for Mogard. Enough to get him to 17-2 and a technical fall in the NHSCA Freshman National Finals. Your champion from Ames, Iowa, Jamin Mogard. And with that, we wrap up. Hayden in the red, Yates in the green. Not to be confused with their shoes, which are green shoes for Hayden and red shoes for Yates. Slow start to this first period. We're scoreless through 30. Yates attacks wrist. Hayden going collar tie on the left. Now into a 2-on-1 is Yates, but unable to get to any real offense off of it. We go back to feeling each other out from space. Leg attack there, attempt by Hayden, who's going to actually give up the takedown on a Merkle position in favor of Yates. Could become a potentially dangerous situation here. We have to watch their knee. And now Hayden, the original leg attacker, despite giving up the Merkle takedown, keeps wrestling through the position, is able to get a reversal, and is now going to work on top. Oh, the old double half. Full Nelson, 1 point for green. Penalty was on red, Hayden. So Hayden, unfortunately, makes the goof of a full Nelson, but don't be fooled. He's got above a 4.0 GPA, taking 4 APs this year. Those Ivy League schools will have to keep this guy on their mind. Short time here in the first period. Hayden breaks him back down flat, and he will finish the period on top. So Hayden, with the first real aggressive leg attack of the match, ends up giving up a takedown after a savvy Merkle by Yates. But Hayden keeps wrestling, finishes the takedown, the reversal. Unfortunately, as a penalty for full Nelson, but comes out of the period only down 4-2, and will now be on top where he finished the end of the first period. Clean mat return there, back to it. Switches off to the head lever on the opposite side. Hayden was unseeded in this tournament. Defeated Max Solis 5-0 in the semifinals. His opponent, Yates, out of Salisbury, North Carolina, is the 4 seed. He squeaked by Mitchell Bailey 4-2 in the semifinals to earn himself a bout against Lucius Hayden. 1:22 remaining in the second period. Leg in now for Hayden on the right side. Leg slips out, but he does have Yates flat on his belly. Oh. Almost had the cradle locked up on the left side. Though unsuccessful, it's set up slipping the leg in deep on the right. So now Hayden goes to work trying for crossface, but we get hit with a potentially dangerous on the knee. No points, nothing to stress about, but we will get a fresh start here with the Yates on bottom, up by 2, 40 seconds in the second period. Quickly to his feet is Yates, but he gets brought right back down by Hayden, who continues to be tough on top, but unable to get something close to a turn here. Really, both guys have been working, but the ref feels otherwise. We're going to get a stall warning on top man for that parallel ride. Like I said, Yates has been working to escape. He's just getting kind of smothered by Hayden on top right now. On their feet. Hayden gets hit with another stall. Unable to return Yates after having his leg up in the air for the remainder of that period. So with one more stall, it will be 1 point green. So now Yates will take a 5-2 lead into the third period. Red will choose bottom. Hayden will choose bottom to start the third period. Here at 170 pounds in the NHSCA Freshman National Finals. The California kid looking for a comeback against Braylon Yates of North Carolina. Yates needs a tough ride and a big return here. But we will go neutral after Hayden gets the escape. Only down by 2 here. A takedown would give him a 1 point lead. Keep in mind, Hayden has been hit for stalling. If Yates is able to push the pace, doesn't even really need a takedown here. Could get another stall call and a cushion for him. He'll go to 2-on-1 on his left. Single leg by Hayden, and we get right back into the same position we were in the first period, that Merkel position. So Yates gets another takedown off of that Merkel, despite Hayden shooting the leg attack. And then, in what seems to be deja vu, Yates escapes that position. It's a 4 point lead for Yates with 20 seconds remaining. Leg attack here, but 3 seconds left. No points. Oh, and an RKO of his coach in the corner. Braylon Yates from East Rowan High School, Valebound Wrestling Reds, Brock Conway in the green, Sam Josie, squaring off for the 182-pound Freshman National Finals. And a single leg here by Josie. Gets into a good Cornell position, pops his hips, finishes the takedown. But a quick escape by Conaway brings us back neutral. Right back in on the leg is Josie. Just a punishing that right ankle of Conaway. He'll get another 3 points. And another quick escape, 6-2 through 45 seconds. Josie finished his freshman year with a record of 51-4. His opponent, Conway, 38-6, finished second in his state tournament this year. Sam Josie, a state champion. Josie secures another 3-point takedown. With 20 seconds left, he'll look to hold him down. He gets the cross wrist, tries to slip in a bar. 2-on-1, driving forward. Has Conaway flat on the mat. Short time here. Conaway goes quad pod. And we will have to check on the time. No escape. Time was out. So it'll be a 9-2 lead. A 9-2 lead for Josie into the second period. Sam Josie will choose neutral. Look to keep stacking on the takedowns. Josie earned his way into the national finals via 10-4 victory over Maximus Baxter. His opponent, the 6th seed Conaway, a 7-1 decision over Cale McDonald. Conaway looking to create some offense of his own. Another low single, this time on the other side for Josie. He flips his hits and is able to finish for another takedown. Attacking that left wrist. We'll see if he goes for much of a ride this time. Hasn't been the case too much so. 12-2 halfway through this bout. Gets the return. He's able to get a cross wrist, tries to slip in the bar, nothing there. Still in bounds here on the edge. And they will go out of bounds. Josie's going to show the ref neutral. 1 point for Conaway. We will be back on our feet. 40 seconds remaining in the second period. Level changes by both wrestlers. And here's a shot now by Conaway, but he's unable to finish. Was in deep. But Josie just sort of slicked his way out of it. However, he does get hit with a stall there on the edge as he backed out of bounds. Conway trying to pick up the pace. Short time here. And then so into the third, Josie brings a 12-3 lead. It will be Conaway's choice. Conaway and his coaches say, let's go down. Josie's been unable to hold him. I let him go a few times. He'll look to ride to start out the third period. Just kidding. Good re-attack now by Conaway. But Josie slips it right into a near side cradle, falls out of that, but is in on the legs and secures a 3-point takedown on the edge. And they will go out of bounds. 15-4 for the freshman from St. John's and Smitty's Wrestling Barn. One more escape for Conway. Back in on the single leg is Conway. And just unable to improve from that position. The hips of Josie, extremely strong. Josie with a 10-point lead. 1 minute left in the third period. Conaway back in on the legs, trying to work through an untraditional finish. We're going to fall out of bounds here. .27 seconds remaining and 182 pounds. Another shot by Conaway. Not much there. Throwing everything at him now. Josie will be hit with stalling. 1 point for Conaway. But this bout is all but wrapped up. 2 seconds remaining. And Samuel Josie will be your freshman national champion at 182 pounds from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Samuel Josie. From Idaho, finished his freshman season with a 35-12 record and a third-place finish at the state tournament. Sepulveda carries a 27-8 record and a 3.9 GPA. So Sepulveda in the red, Rivendenira in the green. And Rivendenira challenging with the left underhook, drives Sepulveda out of bounds. Action called. Now Sepulveda in on the leg. Excellent defense by Rivendenira. Turns it into offense of his own, gets the first 3-point takedown of the match, and goes right to work on top, holding Sepulveda down flat on his belly. Has a wrist and an arm bar. Could turn this one into a match out of hand quickly, but good defense by Sepulveda on bottom. Sepulveda was a New Jersey State qualifier as a freshman under Coach Tom Farinaro. Sepulveda will get the one here. And on the edge, Sepulveda squeezes by and finishes on top. A 4-3 lead. With 20 seconds left in the first period, he'll look to hold Rivendera down, but a quick escape ties it up at 4-4. On the edge there for Sepulveda, nearly out of bounds. Just a hair in, but that's good enough to tie it up 4-4. Choice to Rivendera, who defers, and Sepulveda instantly chooses down. Already got out once, going back to work to get one more. Leg in the air now for Rivendera. He's looking for backs. He's attacking the bottom shoulder. Nothing quite there. Back to quad pod for Sepulveda. And they will go out of bounds. Sepulveda continues with that quad pod position, which has worked for him so far in this match, except for momentarily what almost got him in danger. But he goes right back to it, not before switching to a switch. Nothing out of there. In fact, he gives up the cross wrist. So now Rivendera will try to go to work. Rivendera with a one-on-one on the left. Unable to retain it. Drops down to that ankle, but is comfortable giving up one. As we go back neutral, and Sepulveda takes the 1-point lead halfway through this 195-pound bout. Sweep single on the left side for Sepulveda. Tried to double off, couldn't quite finish it that way, so he slips his head to the inside, through the legs. Now a little too deep on a low single, but he'll create some height. Try to split the middle, now into a crackdown position. Rivendera gets his hips back on top, locks in the crotch, using his legs to push the head away. And we will get a stalemate. Excellent scramble for some big guys. 5 seconds remain in this second period. Into the third, it'll be Rivendera's choice. He's gotten out once before, will need to do so again to tie this match at 5 apiece. Quickly to his feet, and Rivendera gets his one. Attempting back into the legs is Sepulveda. Looking to drive him out of bounds, has a body lock, and that'll be a stall warning against Rivendera. Stall warning on green. Back in on the leg. Sepulveda unable to finish. Wow, what a sequence. Was in on the leg, couldn't quite finish. Riven De Niro re-attacked, and then Sepulveda re-attacked the re-attack and was able to finish. Cutting back behind the knee on the edge, gets the 3-point takedown, so he'll have a 3-point lead with 1:18 remaining in the third. Escape for Riven De Niro, down by 2. Goes underhook on the left. The Sepulveda is locked high in the body, drives him out of bounds. Stall warning on red, so 1-point green. It doesn't matter for Sepulveda, he's right in on a low single, circles to his left, finishes the takedown, and that puts him up 11-1. Sorry, 11-7. It was a 1-point lead before that takedown. Now a 4-point lead with 40 seconds remaining. One escape for Riven De Niro. Three-point takedown for red. And Adam Sepulveda with a 14-8. Small. Hailing from Batuta, New York, St. Francis. He finished third in his state championship this year as a freshman. Two battling at it right away with a hard hand fight. Two-on-one attempt for Rage. Darch quick to clear it and then go to his offense. Darch is your 1 seed at this weight. Got into the finals with a first period pin over Rodney Sabin in his semifinal bout. Henderson, the 3 seed, scored a major decision 9-0 over Antonio Ruiz in his semifinals match. Both wrestlers dominant all the way through the bracket to get here. Trying to finish their weekend here in Virginia Beach as a national champion. Short time remaining in the first, shot by Rage. Henderson. More action on a re-attack by Darch, and they'll go out of bounds. And they'll remain clinched up for the rest of this first and end it 0-0. Choice goes to Henderson, who will choose bottom. And keep in mind, Darch was able to pin his opponent in the first period in the semifinals. He'll go to work now on top, but we'll have to return Henderson, who's quickly to his feet. Darch gets the ankle high, drives him out of bounds, and we will restart in the center. Only 11 seconds ticked off the clock. Back to the feet quickly for Henderson. Darch in on the single leg, working to return. Will drive his opponent out of bounds. Action called. In addition to wrestling, Henderson plays football and track and field. Some of that explosion from track and field showing off in his bottom work. But he's not able to escape the grasp of Darch, who has remained tough on top and continues to ride through this second period. Darch back on the leg as a mat return drives him near the out-of-bounds line. Still in bounds with that left foot in. And quad pot again, and they'll step out of bounds. Quad pod for Henderson. Single leg for Darch. Tends to be the theme of this match. Darch is coached by Ron Lorenz and Steve Hart. His coaches are egging him on to stay tough on top. They'll take this period one mat return at a time if they have to. So Henderson switches it up, back to his feet, and the result remains the same. This time a stall warning against Darch for driving him out of bounds. Ref says you made no attempt to return on that attempt, on that situation. Henderson goes back on bottom. Similar position here for Darch, trying to run the pipe, then double off to a sack of potatoes. Nothing there, gonna get hit with a stall again, so we'll give one. Ref will award one to Henderson for the second stall. Ref says he's just holding it up there, not making an attempt to return. And therefore he's dinged with a second stall. And now we have some blood. So after the second stall, Henderson, while still being on bottom, takes the 1-0 lead with 38 seconds remaining in the second period. 38 seconds remain in the second period here in the 220-pound NHSCA freshman finals. The Darch this time tries to pull Henderson back in and attempt the mat return. No stall call there as they go out of bounds. 7 seconds ticked off the clock. Back to his feet with the quad pod is Henderson. Back elbow deep is Darch, but this time Henderson's able to create separation and get the one. 20 seconds remain in the second period, 2-0 lead. Henderson did a good job there of just fighting to get back to his feet again and again and again. Made adjustments where he needed to make adjustments. Was able to secure 2 stall calls, getting a point for one of those. And then still got to his feet and got the one for escape. So he'll take a 2-0 lead at the third. Darch chooses neutral. We'll have 2 minutes to create some offense. Both wrestlers working in the upper body position. Collar ties, underhooks. Darch tries to dig an underhook on the right. Nothing there. Fake from Darch. Back to the underhook. With 1 minute left, down by 2. Needs to start pushing the pace. You don't want to wait till the end of the period to finally take an attack just in case there's a scramble. You want to leave yourself plenty of time to finish the takedown. He's been tough on top. He could get a takedown and ride him out. Down to 40 seconds. Back to the underhook, snap. Misdirection in on the single leg. Good defense by Henderson, who's got his arms locked around behind him. Just needs a return. Will roll out of bounds. Action, no score. Good motion from the big guys here. 26 seconds. Bash hook for Darch. 15 seconds. In on the single leg. Looking to drive across, chin whip. And Henderson's going to get the takedown. Might even get a fall here. Short time. And that's a pin. Rage Henderson finishing strong. Your freshman in the green finished 3rd place in NHSCA's last year in the middle school division. Able to make the finals in the freshman high school division this year. The Ohioan McCullough has a 22-7 overall record. And he is in bad shape here as Carter Rias with the body lock scores the first takedown of the match. No backs earned. Going to show the ref neutral. Going back to our feet, Carter Rias has a 27-16 record out in Pennsylvania. He's got a 4.0 GPA and has made the NHSCA finals as a freshman. (3-1) in favor of Reyes, who's got a lefty underhook. Back to another body lock position. drives it down for another 3-point takedown on the edge. 6-1 for Reyes, cruising here early in our final bout of the afternoon. And we're going neutral again. Now McCullough goes on the offensive. Pummeling inside. Reyes back to the underhook. Has the head covered now. Looking to snap it to the mat. Nothing here. Leg attack by McCullough. But heavy hips of Reyes is going to be enough for a third takedown. And a 9-2 lead if he can ride him out here to end the first. A comfy cushion through one period of the national finals here. It'll be Carter Reyes' choice. He'll defer. Dominic McCullough chooses top. We haven't seen too much mat wrestling. Reyes has been scoring a takedown and going neutral. McCullough chooses top. Immediately goes tight waist chop. Power half on the opposite side of the body. Switching to a near ankle. Back to this power half position, but with no leg in. He's definitely high as Reyes comes out the back door, and that'll be 2 reversal. 11-2 for Reyes. A dominant performance thus far in your freshman national finals at 285 pounds. Still in bounds, and we're out of bounds. We'll see if Reyes goes neutral here again. Reyes earned his way into the finals with an 11-6 win over Chris Godson. His opponent, McCullough, the 1 seed, earned a first period fall against Samuel Lanoska to make it this far. Reyes, your 3 seed, with an 11-3 lead halfway through this bout. Back to that body lock. A headlock attempt by McCullough. Almost gives up a takedown. Is able to defend it off, but now finds himself back on his butt. And he'll give up the takedown this time. Carter Reyes piling it on up to a 14-3 lead. Going to slip the left leg in, try to get some backs here and end this match. A half Nelson. And there it is. It looked to settle his hips and get the fall with a pin from Muncie, Pennsylvania. Carter Reyes, your freshman national champion at 285 pounds. Congratulations to Carter Reyes and coaches Ryan Hembury and Denny Horror. Thank you everyone for tuning in today, and we will see you